Whether you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
PremierBilliards.com. Exceptional cues, cases, and accessories from top-tier brands. Want it? Need it? Find it. PremierBilliards.com.
Welcome back to another episode of Dogging It. I got no idea why I am on the full screen, but let me, hey, World Championship day number 3. Got a lot of big news. Mike's in the back. I don't know what the hell he's doing to his phone. Mike and technology just sometimes don't get along so well, but it's all right. We're going to bring him on in here in just a moment. Mike just broke some news regarding another World Championship, so we're going to jump into that along with discussing the WPA stuff that was posted on day number 1. We never really got into it over the last couple of days, so I want to dive on into that as well. But we'll be going over some live scoring, winner qualifications today. But in the meantime, let me bring on my man over here, Panozo. Mike, how are you, buddy? Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Let me see if I can fix this screen here a little bit. All right, let me do this, and then I'm going to do one other thing here. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good.
Well, it's what's the vibe? What's the vibe out there, man? Guys are trying to qualify for 64 this morning.
Yeah. I mean, winners bracket matches going on, all morning and afternoon.
Yep.
And listen, there's some good matches. And the way I'm kind of looking at it is, if losers bracket qualifications tonight, and they're waiting for all the losers of today's winners bracket matches, right?
Yeah.
So if you're already in that losers bracket, you don't want to see any upsets this afternoon.
No. Because then you're just going to get monsters.
Get dropped. Yeah, you don't want to see Filler get dropped into the losers bracket. You didn't want to see FSR get dropped into the losers bracket. You don't want to see Shane get dropped into the losers bracket. So, I'm sure all the losers bracket guys are looking chalk all afternoon. And so far it's been, pretty according to plan.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just fading it while you can. You know what I mean? In that, like, in time, there's nothing you can do, right? You're just gonna have to face them. But
Yeah.
you want to get through to knockout at a minimum. But you mentioned Shane, Mike. I look on Facebook this morning. Billiards Digest comes on my news feed. Talk to me about what you posted just a little bit ago.
Yeah, I actually had breakfast with Shane today, and he said he had sent a letter to WPA just saying, pulling out of the World 10 ball. He said, or World 8 ball. He said, this isn't a political WPA position, decision. He said, I thought about it. I looked at the schedule. I really don't want to go all the way to New Zealand to play. So I'm just going to play in the Texas Open. And so it was, he said it was a, relatively, easy decision for him. There's not a lot. I think the China Open is a little bit before or right after New Zealand, but that's as close as you're going to come, and that's probably an 8-hour flight. So so I think that he was just like, I'm doing enough run around for this year. I won the World 8 ball last year. I've got that in my resume. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we all know Shane can be very what's the word I'm looking for? Like specific, right? He wants to do what he wants to do and how he wants to do it, and he's not getting any younger. And Lord knows, peace of mind and not being stuck on a plane for X amount of hours is can be priceless in its own right. Mike.
Well, listen, he even said, if I, run really deep, do really well here, if I win here, everybody's going from here to Dubai to play in the tournament that Jason's put on Dubai. He said, if I run really deep here or win this, I'm probably not going to go there. I'm going to go home and fish. So he says, I want to get back on the water.
Yeah. No, and I get that from Shane for sure. Like, I completely understand. I'm surprised though, given that it's a world championship for one, given the fact that it's, a championship that he's defending. I mean, listen, the reality is he probably won't get to defend very many world championships in his career, like from here on out. You know what I mean? So having that ability to go out there.
You know how hard it is to defend a championship in these fields. So, he's not a favorite to defend. And it's a long way to go. If you win, it's a good payday. But he just weighing the pros and the cons, and figured he'll stay at home, do a little fishing, go to the Texas Open. I'm sure he'll do just
Uh,
fine at the Texas Open, and come out
Shane's
ahead.
number one. Shane's always welcome at the Texas Open. Okay, as a representative of Texas. Okay, Shane's always welcome at the Texas Open. I think he got what was it, second last year to Tyler Steyer, if I'm not mistaken, which was um, a great final. By the way, I'll tell you a funny story about the Texas Open. I don't know if I ever mentioned this before on air. So it was like a day or two before the final. In Texas, you guys know, goes like for 5 or 6 put in one pocket and blah blah blah. Anyway, so we had just came back from Everett, Washington, Mike. Right, we came back from
Right after right.
the West Coast, and it was Tyler and Shane were traveling together, and Margaret stayed back in Seattle to play like some regional tournament or whatever. And I asked Tyler, I said, why didn't you stay and play that event out there in Seattle? You know, like you're already there. You don't got to travel. Like, you know, you're probably going to be a pretty good favorite to win this event. And Shane's right there. And Tyler looks at me and he says, I'm going to keep chasing that MF until I beat him is what he said, Mike. And so fast forward a couple of days, Tyler ends up beating him in what was a pretty great final. So
Yeah.
the Texas Open, longest running tournament, I think, in the world, if I'm not mistaken, at least in the country at a bare minimum. But I'm surprised though, Mike. And I know that in the quote, Shane says it's not political, Mike, but I don't know if I'm buying that personally.
I am. I am. I think he had sent that before the WPA sent out its recent, uh, blasts of warm and fuzzy PR that they put out. And he just said, he said, I don't want to make it seem like that this is, a big statement thing. He said, I'm just not going.
Yeah.
So
Shane doesn't really do so well when it comes to like being the face of pool at times.
no,
Like
no, he's not
he's
a
ne-
her, and that's fine. There's a lot of guys
yeah,
who don't want that role,
yeah.
and that's fine too. You don't have to be the figurehead just because you're number one.
Yeah, I remember last year talking with him at the U.S. Open and you know everything that was going on, especially like in the thick of it leading into Hanoi. Like he was very much aware of like his position in power and like him being that face of the players. You know what I mean? And kind of more so that responsibility that comes with it. And so um, I don't know, Mike. I mean, if you send it out ahead of time, I get it. I'm a little surprised still, just because I mean I'm imagining they're going to be paying close to $70,000 again, like it was
Yeah,
last year. I'd guess, and so
yeah,
obviously we want Shane to win the World Nine Ball. I still remember whenever he won the World Nine Ball a few years ago. So, but yeah, Mike, it's interesting. It's interesting to hear that this morning.
yeah, yeah. It was interesting.
Let's talk WPA for a little bit, Mike, because day number
Okay.
one. Okay, this is the crown jewel for the WPA, right? When it comes to American pool, biggest prize fund, blah blah blah, all the things that everything should be, right? And
Yeah,
then in their savvy PR moves that they always do, WPA uses their platform on day number one of the $1 million tournament to announce, hey, by the way, if you guys plan on attending this tournament in 5 months, make sure you have permission or you're going to be suspended from playing in WPA sanctioned events, Mike. Help me understand, because I'm assuming some of those guys are there. I'm not assuming. I know some of those guys are there.
no,
I've seen
yeah, yeah.
photos and got some messages.
That's where
Help
the
me
money
understand,
goes, Mike. That's where the money goes.
Mike.
Business class and
What
5-star hotels.
what is wrong with these guys, Mike? What in the fuck is wrong with these guys? They just don't got no common sense, or what is it, Mike?
Well, yeah, it's I struggle to understand this part of it myself. And Ishan Singh is here, the president of WPA. Shane Tyree is here. A couple of the other, like a couple of the big European guys. Martian is here. So,
Oh,
um,
get that guy on the show. That's the Polish
yeah,
Federation guy, ain't it? Yeah, give
yeah.
get
That's the guy
get.
that Victor just kind of gave the finger
Let,
to.
let, let me get his email, Mike. I'd love to chat with him for a
Yeah.
little bit.
No, and they're here, and it's just weird to see them sitting here because they're not getting warm and fuzzies from many people. I guarantee you that.
Right.
And it just their message is so confusing and so self-important. And
Yep.
it's the MO that the WPA has had. I thought maybe it would change after Ian Anderson was out, because the MO was, listen, these guys basically fly around the world business class looking for a sanction fee. And that's what it still seems to be. So they show up and they sit in the front row and they look important and they hand out medals and
How
pat
awkward is
themselves
that,
on the
Mike? Like
back
you know you're not really wanted there. You know that
yeah,
you really wouldn't get invited there if there wasn't a previous contract, right? You know the bad blood is there. You know that the people who are hosting the party can't stand your ass, and yet you still show up just as proud as can be, pretending like you're this
well,
vital
they've got
girl
these,
in this previous.
they've got their federation friends. That's who they hang with. So you've got the Saudi Federation here. You've got a couple of the EPBF, federation, national federations here. You've got some other people here, and so they hang around with each other and pat each other on the back about what a great job they're doing, mucking up the works.
What is? Have you talked to any players regarding that news when it comes to Hanoi, Mike?
A few, because I talked to some players about the interesting thing was before all that happened, they came out with this is the World Championship, you have to sign, a player license. And then 2 days later, it's like, oh, by the way, if you signed a player's license, you play in Hawaii, you're banned. So it
So
was
wait a minute,
really
time
kind of,
out, time out. Rewind a little bit. So help me understand this, Mike. The players are there. WPA is there. They tell the players, "Hey, by the way, in order to play this event, just a friendly reminder, you need to have a sanctioning fee. You need to be sanctioned. I'm assuming it comes with the nominal fee, Mike. So the players then have to sign their licensing agreement in order to play in the World Championship, and then a few days later, they follow up saying, "Hey, if you're a sanctioned player, then by the way, how
yeah, it
convenient
just
is that,
sounds,
Mike? Huh?
yeah, it's conniving is what it is. And it's really, it's bad form. It's,
Well,
it just,
it seems pretty par for the course, Mike.
It does because they're, listen, everybody knows they're a PR disaster when it comes to putting the word out, phrasing it properly, trying to con people like we're all idiots and they can talk over our heads. And, it's just all the same thing that we've gotten over the years. And so, yeah, it is frustrating. I haven't been able to pin down Ishan since he's been here yet. I saw him for just a minute yesterday. It was a little awkward, to be honest with you. But, I do want to sit down and just say, please help me understand what you guys are doing that's
Yeah.
positive for anyone. I mean, I even think about Predator at this moment and think about, okay, they've got their World 8-Ball Championship, hoping to do the World 10-Ball Championship again next year. Are they really genuinely behind closed doors excited about working with the WPA on this stuff? I find that hard to believe.
I would hope that they're smarter than that, but then all you can do is go off of those relationships, right? And then just make assumptions because neither one of them want to go on the record. Predator doesn't want to go on the record when it comes to their relationship with the WPA. WPA has been mum
Well, they have talked
for
about it, and
months.
they've basically said, "Listen, this is a tough situation to be in. We want to run these tournaments." I mean, they essentially took over the rights to the World 8-Ball and World 10-Ball. So, they're kind of stuck working with the WPA. They realize that, but they also know, as we saw in March, that they have enough sway to say, "Listen, you better do something about this ban thing that you got going because if you say on March 1st none of those people can play in the World 8-Ball Championship or next World 10-Ball Championship, we're not going to be a happy partner." So I have no doubt that they were a big part of WPA's decision on February 28th and a half to, pull up that ban. Of course, that ban, allowed them to players to play in all these other events except the Hanoi Open. And that's when you bring in the whole Asian Federation, which is a whole different, you know, uh, bag full of nut jobs. So, it's just messy for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, you know, talking with Aishan there at the Rio in February, Mike, I came away with a lot of positives. I'll be honest with you, and a lot of that stuff was like off the record. You know what I mean? Because there was
Yeah,
still a lot going on when it comes to them in
yeah.
Matchroom, and They just came out with that press release saying that, hey, we're buddy buddy with Matchroom. And Matchroom's like, well, hold on a minute, no, we're not. You know what I mean? And so, um, but like talking with him privately, I came away with a lot of optimism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I came away with um, feeling like they meant well, you know, and so it bought more patience, at least for me. You know what I mean? Like it bought more
Well,
patience
you
and
know
just
what?
like
They
hopefully they
mean
can.
well. They mean well as long as it doesn't affect their turf and their job security. Okay, they
Yeah.
mean well until it's going to start affecting, who's going to pay for them to fly around the world and sit in the front row and look
Well,
important,
you said it,
right?
Mike, not me.
Well,
And
no,
it's true.
listen,
It's true.
you know,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
you
That's
can tell, when I showed that picture of someone showed that picture of four WPA heads sitting at the trade show in China with the head of Joy, and I said Joy brought a lot of employees to the China Expo. I was only half kidding. I mean, that's who brought them all in there to sit there and look important. And lo and behold, they've got all these deals with Joy now with Hayball, and they're taking over the Hayball, uh, world. They're taking over the title of it. WPA is, so that it doesn't look like one company owning discipline, which Joy does,
joy. Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, which is always kind of ironic to me because their big argument against Matchroom's demand on 9-ball rankings and all that stuff was that they basically want to own the discipline, and no one can own the discipline. Well, you know what? You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth, guys, and because Joy owns Hayball, and you're letting them do it with your
Well,
stamp
but
on it.
they also pay up pretty good, and they got really deep pockets, Mike, and that helps buy
Of course. So
that helps.
it's just follow the money.
Yeah. No, absolutely right. And look, I get. I don't want to listen. The shoe fits when it comes to me and my love hate relationship with the WPA, and so like, but I try to keep as much of an open mind as possible, Mike. And then you have things like what happened a couple of days ago come up, and it's like, look, Mike, it's day number 3 of the World Championships. Now we haven't done. I've only had you on yesterday, so we haven't really had time to discuss it. But the fact that we're having to discuss it during the biggest tournament in the last however many decades just
Yeah,
shows, how self-serving that these guys really are. You
yeah,
of all the weeks to post this kind of stuff, wait till after the event. Wait till after the event.
yeah.
You got 5 months between now and then, and you want to send that friendly reminder. When this event starts, it has me shaking my head, and that's being polite. I I don't know why that they're there other than to go and have a photo op. You know what I mean? And who's forking over that
No one
bill?
wants to take a selfie with them. I guarantee you that.
Well, I got one with a couple of them, that's for sure. Back at the Rio, but yeah, no, it's look, I've talked with players as you have, Mike, in a number of different federations, from American players to European players with strong federations, with weak federations, you name it, and all of them seem to have the same opinion. And it was surprising because even guys who got a lot of benefits from some of these federations were telling me, hey, you know what? I hope they don't reconcile. I hope that they don't get back together because I'm fine with being outside of that umbrella. And I see a player like Victor, basically say, and they get pretty good. They get taken care of pretty good, especially when it comes to
Yeah,
world championships, Mike. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So to hear him say, hey, listen, I'm out of here. Thanks. Don't call me. I'll call you. Is pretty surprising, Mike. And he's that for me. The Polish team is very deep, but Victor's close to being at the top of that totem pole right now.
yeah. I tell you what, he sent that out, and he became my personal favorite for this event. If there's anybody I want to see win this event, I would love to see him win this event.
And then you know what, Mike? I want to see him do a big, to the Federation
Well, he's
right
he's a
right
bigger
afterwards.
he's a bigger guy than that, and
Well,
and
but it
because he
also
does
wears
owe the
on him, Mike. That
federation a
that
lot.
also wears like he
It does.
more than it's like stressful for that kid, man. I remember talking with him after he had just won a Predator event, Mike, and I see him at the U.S.
Yeah,
Open, right? And I'm talking with him, and you would have thought the dude went 2 and out in Michigan or whatever the hell it was. Like he looked like that, you know what I mean? And it was all because of the strain of that relationship. and the amount of pressure and that he was getting. And mind you, they didn't. I think he was part of the ones to say, "Hey, I'm not going and playing Hanoi after that reminder was sent out
Right.
back in
Right.
August." And that's when he was vying for a Mosconi Cup spot. He was very much in contention back then. You know, and so it's just part of what these players are having to fade. I think it's just real
Yeah.
unnecessary right now.
They just
And
would
for the
like to see it behind them, one way or another. I don't care what the decisions are. Just let's make them. Tell me what my future is, and let's just get on with pool.
Yeah. Well, there's still, I mean, there's a lot more still in limbo right now, unfortunately, and a
Yeah.
lot more things because, listen, by default, Matchroom and the WPA have this relationship. They own the rights to the World Pool Championship, but a part of that is playing by the rules and stipulations of that contract, Mike, and having that, have it be WPA sanctioned. So, I'm curious to see like what else they'll be sanctioning from Matchroom over the next few months.
It's gonna
Um,
be interesting to see what happens with this event next year.
what are you hearing, Mike?
I don't hear anything, and if you talk to one, you talk to either side, they think they're the ones with the leverage. Matchroom owns the event, so they can stage a world championship, and their deal for the next 10 years is not reliant on it being a WPA sanctioned event. It's the World Pool Championship, which they own. So, you know, I don't know how the WPA gets around having these bans on all these players, but they can play in the tournament next year. So it's just going to be interesting to see how that all unfolds. Yeah.
Well, listen, I wouldn't mind seeing the WNT championship. I'll tell you that, Mike, and it would have just as much prestige. And I know it wouldn't have like the history, right? But like we all know better, you know what I mean? And so,
Right.
for me, like that formality of what you sold me is an afterthought. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
prestige of the who, what, where, when, and why. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it's the players. You know what I mean? Like get
Yeah.
me the best players, get me the biggest prize fund. You know what I mean? It's not gonna lose any kind of importance when it comes to following this event or being excited about the event. And I'm okay with just carving your own path when it comes to things, And so I hope it doesn't come to that because I can appreciate history, but the WPA just I mean, goddamn, just shut up for a while. Just go in the corner. Just go for a little bit. You know what I mean? Just leave everybody alone. Let them play some
Just
pool.
walk up to Ishan, give him a timeout.
Let me tell you, Mike. When you walk up to him, just hit the FaceTime. Okay, hit the FaceTime on me, and I'll have the record button ready, and we'll get him on camera for a little bit. Now,
We'll have a chat. We'll have a chat.
I I don't know why. Like, given how public they are when it comes to some of their statements. I don't know why they're not willing to come on the record and discuss things more openly because they've already continuing to put their foot in their mouth. At least let's have um,
Yeah.
some give me some more context to why you're taking the stance that you're taking. You know, now I
Yeah.
know they don't do
They
so well
need
when it comes to
time to
having a
react.
microphone on.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't. They need time to react. Like, give me a question, I'll get back to you next week. So.
I know a couple guys in this industry that are like that, Mike. Oh, yeah. I'm sure you do too. So fast forward 6 months, we still ain't heard from some of these motherfuckers. But anyway, all right, Mike, let's talk World Pool Championship. Mike, today is moving day. Today is the day that you're gonna go and qualify, whether you're on the winner side, you got one round in order to get through. If you're on the one loss side, like you mentioned to start the show, then you have to wait for the
Yep. Play
losers, and then
tonight.
you got to
Yeah.
play one more. So I'm gonna bring up some of these score lines. FSR defending champion. You know what, Mike? What's crazy to me? I say defending champion, but that seems like a long time ago. Like, is it just me? Like, it really just seems like that
It
that
does
like
seem
like
like
that
ages
final
ago. Yeah.
with Sufi was like a while ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It does seem that way.
All right, let's bring it up.
Yeah. Listen.
FSR cruises over Kyle Amurato 9-5. Salnaki 9-7. He first popped on the scene, beating Shane in a world championship a few years ago to
Yeah.
qualify. Kazakis loses 9-5 to the Slayer. Kwopo Chang 9-3 over Youngo. Yap
Yeah. Talk
9-7.
about
Mike,
turning
what are
back the clock. Turning back the clock time over there in Taiwan.
listen, there's a lot of dangerous dudes over there, Mike. A lot of them,
Yeah.
and that just
Yeah.
shows that like their depth because he would probably be like what like number 6 on the depth chart, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
would think if you start listing off Taiwanese players. Um, Tucher continuing his run 9-2 over Fam. Maciel loses.
he's played really well here. He's looked really good.
Who? Marco?
Tucher. Yeah. He's
You know
played
what,
really
Mike?
well here.
I talked to Ray about him the other day, and obviously we remember him beating Shane at the U.S. Open. You know what I mean? But like, look, he's got a really high gear. Does that dude? You know, like he can take down some really big names. I just hope that he can parlay that into a good run. You know what I mean? Because if you
Yeah.
got that kind of
Yeah.
game, then follow that up with a big win. And look, I mentioned this to start the event and looking into the event. You're going to have two players, one on at least one on Team Europe and one on Team Asia that are going to lock the spot on their teams this year. I mean, in this event, you know, and these are going to be like unlikely names for me, Mike. And so, could a guy like
Yeah.
Mark be one of those
Looks good.
players? I think he can be, Mike. I really do.
Sure. Sure.
What are some matches that stood out to you from this morning, Mike?
Well, it's like pick a co, any co. I mean, they're just the three Co brothers. Just like they just like breezed into the final 64, and the littlest Co, who's the biggest of the three of them, beat Al Shamari, which was impressive to me because Al Shamari looked really good, and I kind of wanted to see a Saudi player get into the final 64, so he still has another shot. Jason looked pretty good today against Chua. Um, Claudio Cacci looked good. Um, Pingy Cole always looks good.
Little
Guys
Co,
who are
I
playing
saw.
now. Billy Thorpe was up 5-1 on Moritz. He's losing 7-5.
Well, look, Moritz plays really good on those tables. He had his run on Mr. Sung's last year, Mike. You know, so
Yeah, yeah.
I was surprised seeing him down 5-1 to Billy, and I know Billy's been playing better, but I'm not. I'm.
Billy's looked really good here. Actually, to tell you the truth, he's looked really strong.
Well,
Haven't
he's
seen the second half of the match, so I don't know what happened. If he's just not gotten to the table, or if he's missed, but um, he's you uh, he's looked pretty good.
he's the kind of guy who, this tournament's important for, and I
Yeah,
don't mean so
yeah,
much when it comes to like a dollars and cents kind of deal. I mean, don't get me wrong, like that would help, right? But
yeah,
like
yeah,
you I think that there's opportunity where Wolford's kind of disappeared, right? Oscar's making moves, right? So if you're Billy, right? Tyler had a good run in the last
yeah,
event, going hill with Shane. So like if you're Billy, you gotta like you gotta put your stamp on an event. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you gotta take down some names. You gotta show that it's not a good story, right? We gotta see some results here, and the only way to get that
yeah.
is by putting some feathers in the cap. I saw Little Cole against Darren Mike. Damn, that dude was looking tough. I mean, he was looking like U.S.
Yeah, he
Open
wasn't getting a lot of
tough.
he wasn't getting a lot of resistance, to be honest with you. But
No,
he did look
no,
really good.
no, he didn't.
Yeah,
Little Kachi, man, listen, that dude, I'm real high on that guy's game, man. Cledio plays
yeah,
the
he's
game.
solid. He's just solid, just steady. He plays just like Big Kachi. He's just steady. He just walks around the table and knocks balls into pockets.
These are some live scores that are going on right now. BJ Ussery's up 6-2 on Hunter Lombardo. Mark Biesterbosch 4-1 against, I don't know who this guy is from Bosnia, but Little Co 9-0. Shane, he's through Mike 9-3. Cheng Jun Lin
Yeah,
7-4 over AJ Mounds. Labutis, Mike. Where's he going to end in this tournament, Mike?
I like him. I like him in this tournament. I like it. A lot of it's going to depend on you know what kind of draw he pulls when it goes to 64, if he makes it to 64. But I like the way he's playing. I like his attitude. He's a Johan guy, and Johan's here with him and Tyler and Federer. Um, so I like his chances.
Federer match last night, Mike. Dodging some bullets,
Yeah, no, he said he
got
thought. I
got
talked to
away
him
with a
today. He
lot, Mike.
said, yeah, he said I thought I was toast yesterday. So he said he feels a lot different today. He just wasn't there yesterday. You could see he was completely out of sorts. His head wasn't in the game. It just, he just didn't look right. So I
You
think
know
he's
what
got himself
happens
a
though,
little bit
Mike.
on
It's like
tilt. He
if
started
you
talking about how this equipment isn't his style. It's a pool table with orange pockets, man. Knock the ball in.
Yeah, well, I mean, Federer can be a little mental at times. That's for sure. He
Well,
can get a
that's the
little
thing, and
tilted.
that's why it's good to have Johan here who can kind of smack you on the back of the head and say, wake up, son, start hitting balls.
Right. And listen, if you can fade the bad day, then a lot of times you'll see with
Yep.
these big names, it's like, okay, if you
All of a
dodge the
sudden, the
bullet where
flip
you were supposed
switches
to,
and boom. Yep.
and then you become the player that everybody knows that you can be, right? The reputation that you've earned. And so I'm sure there was a lot of guys who were hoping that he would go out, but he
Yeah.
survived. It was kind of a weird, you know what, Mike? That did you see the end of that match? Because so the guy didn't call a push out. Is that what happened?
Correct. Yeah. He didn't call the push. He was trailing 8-7 and was pushing after the break and didn't call it. And Federer got ball in hand and 2-9 was sitting there. So,
Pretty brutal.
yeah,
Pretty brutal,
one
Mike.
and out.
Yeah. All right, let's keep on cruising down a little bit. 7-6 now, Mike Moritz and Billy. Let's keep an eye on that one. Victor
Yeah.
6-2 over
Yeah.
Jan van
Yeah.
Leerup. Wolford's down 4-6 against Robbie Capito. Mike, you think he's going to follow that up with a strong performance here at this year's World Championship? Robbie, that is.
He's looked good. He's looked comfortable. He looks like he's not added any pressure on himself. So he's gonna someone's gonna have to
Dude,
play good to knock him out.
let me tell you, if he's got that same disposition that he had in that last event, Mike, like his mental toughness and just his ability to process and the way that he looked like
Yeah.
physically, right? And
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
I'm gonna breathe, I'm gonna go through my motions, like I'm not gonna get caught up in the ebbs and flows of the match. I'm just gonna play ball for ball. Like, man, if there's so many players with great talent that just don't have that ability, and
Yeah.
so if Robbie can just hone that in,
And
Mike.
we've talked about it, plenty, but him knowing that he did that going through Federer and Filler on his way, that's got to really take your confidence up. And not only win the tournament, but how who you had to beat to get there.
Yep.
There's nobody in this tournament that's going to scare him.
No, I mean those are the kind of, like, listen, there's
Yeah.
guys that where there's a balance between not wanting to peak too early, right? But then there's also like I can take a lot of positives out of what just happened. Now, obviously, the win is going to help quite a bit, right? But like
Yeah.
you beat Filler and Federer, like you mentioned, those are things that like, hey, you know what? Now I can be the big dog in the yard walking into it because I'm not going to be
Yeah.
nervous about playing these guys, right? And you see players who have shown consistency in form like that. Oscar comes to mind, right? Because in the last
Yeah.
event, he beats Jay, he beats Albin, he beats Filler, so he takes down a big chunk of the Mosconi Cup team. And those are guys that like, hey, listen, I know I can my game is there with these guys. I know I can compete with these guys. I know I can beat
Right.
these guys, and it's at the best time, right, Mike?
Right.
Let's Alexa's up 5-4 over Anton. Mike, man, this is the kid who I really want to see do well in Alexa. I gotta be honest with you, man. Because I remember him at the US Open. I was really rooting hard for him to kind of shake the trees up a little bit and put everyone on their head. A win like Anton, listen, I know it's just to get through the qualification, but do you feel like maybe well, first of all, have you seen him play any in this event?
Yeah, he did, and he actually should have gotten beat in the first round by Sam Henderson. So, um,
Really?
yeah, yeah. Sam made a couple of mistakes at the end that he should have closed that match out. And I saw Alexa make a number of mistakes in that first match. If he gets through Anton, I would assume that he's picked it up a notch. But I wasn't dazzled by him yet, at least.
Well, hopefully he can show some form in this event because he was a good story last year. And there's
The
going to
guy I
be,
like in here. Go ahead.
who's that? No, who's
Mustafa
that, Mike?
Alnar. Mustafa Alnar. That would be
Where's
Federer.
he at?
He's up 5-0 on Elliot Sanderson. For a spot in the final 64, and he's a good kid, nice kid. It's a really good game. Beat Federer here, and just turned 23. North Cyprus. He's a good story. I like guys like that.
Well, I mean, look, that's just you beat a kid like Federer, right? And now that boosts your confidence. Then if you beat Federer, you're
Yeah.
supposed to be at 5-0 on Elliott. Let's just be honest about it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Elliot
but
got away with one in the first round too. So
who did he beat? Who was his match? I know it was
Beat
dramatic at the end.
the other Vietnamese player
At the end.
who dogged it on the hill on the 8 ball, I believe it was, and Elliot got out. Yeah, but
Speaking of dogging it, Mike, you feel like these nerves are going to continue to get ratcheted up in the next couple of days?
Well, I'm hoping that the nerves get ratcheted up, but I'm hoping the level of play goes up with it because it hasn't been the greatest, to be honest with you, the first couple of days. I think for a number of reasons. I noticed the minute that I got here that there was a lot more anxiety and apprehension in the air, even with the top players, than I had
Really?
seen in a long time.
You mean like
And
just because of the money? You feel like?
I don't know what it is. It's the hype of the event. It's the grand the grandeur of it, the way they've set it up. It's the expectations and it's the world championship. Just the words itself kind of add a little bit of pressure. And so when they were here, and then you get 128 players, so there's not many. There's no real first round cupcakes. You got to start out of the gate hot. You don't know anything about the conditions. You don't know how they're going to play. You come in here, it's freezing cold. There's all sorts of things playing with your head, and that's why I said earlier, I thought that the first round was going to be really dangerous for a lot of guys. And if you lose that first round, then you're on your heels. You got like two more chances to make the final 64. Otherwise, you're sharing a cab with Carlo Beato to the airport.
I mean, it's crazy to think a guy like Carlo is already out of this event, and there's a number of other
Yeah,
guys who are fighting. I'm going to bring back up this screen here a little bit, Mike, and I'm going to cruise through the guys who are fighting to stay alive: Sky Woodward, Daniel Gutenberger, Basar, Dang, Oy, David Alcade,
yeah.
Boychek, Ignacio, Neil Svine, and Jeremy Saucy. I mean, these are some
They
big
all did.
names. Mora, let's see, Roland, Bernie, Tyler, Albin, and Chua. Wow, look at that, Mike. One Albin or Chua is going
Yeah,
to be out of this event. How strong is that? Tyler and Bernie,
for the final
Wu Kun
64.
Lin,
Yeah,
and Daniel Maciel. Two UK guys, Chris Melling and Imran. How brutal is that?
yeah,
Two UK guys face each other, and then two Greeks face each other, and Nikos and Alex. How chilly is that, Mike? All the
yeah,
guys you can draw. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and Federer's got Kyle Alvarado, Mike. Look out for that one. That's going to be for a spot to get in
Yeah,
to qualify, Mike.
yeah, yeah,
That's huge. You know,
yeah.
that's going to be huge. Um, who do you think survives the day, Mike, and who do you think doesn't?
Um, let's see. Boy, it's really hard to say. Because you're waiting to see who still drops into the losers bracket from the winners side. So there's still a lot of those matches still to be determined. So you don't know who Sky is going to play. You don't know things like that. So hard to say. Um, I should have taken a quick look through it. Um, you know,
Does it say
Legacy
who
Sign's been
Sky
going out.
who Sky would play the loser of?
Sky plays. Yes, it says Sky plays 163. Or no, he's in match 163.
Yeah.
So who's
Let me see if I can bring it up here on my phone because
163 is Lechner, the loser of Lechner and Amir Ali.
okay. Well, I think
You
Max is
know,
up pretty good on that one. So
yeah, he's
um,
up 4-0. And then you've got BJ playing Hunter, and one of them's going to get through, and the other one goes in the losers bracket and plays Pia Filler. Now listen, Pia Filler is a great, good player. She can beat anybody on a good day. But if you're that match, BJ and Hunter, you got to like the chances of two Americans getting to the final 64.
what what kind of odds can I get on Pia over Hunter?
Let me go ask Hunter.
Yeah. What are my chances, Mike? I think I like Pia in that match. Call me crazy. I think I like Pia in that match. It's gonna be good one. It's gonna be good.
It
It's gonna be
will.
close.
It will.
That's for
Listen, I
sure.
I would love to I would love to see Pia make the final 64. I don't want to see it at an American's expense, but I'll give her credit for jumping in here. She was supposed to play at the Rax event in New York, got an opportunity to play here, and she said, "How many chances am I going to get to play in World Championship? I'm taking it." And she's in here swinging away. So
I
yeah,
love that, Mike. By
yeah,
the way,
she's
I
she's great.
love
She's great.
that.
She's got
You
balls.
know,
Right? Yeah,
that she does.
yeah,
That she certainly does. Like it would have been a lot easier to go make some money out there in New York. And she says, "F this. I'm gonna get a chance to go play for a world championship. Right? I'm gonna. It doesn't matter, boy, girl. It don't matter. I'm gonna go on there and I'm gonna play. and I'm going to give it my
Yeah.
best shot. I hope she
Yeah.
qualifies for sure. I hope she
Yeah.
qualifies.
Yeah.
Look, BJ, Shane's already through. BJ's looking to get through if he beats Hunter, right? Oscar's got a tough match against Han a little later on. How many Americans do you think qualified through the final 64, Mike?
I'm going to say 4.
Well, you know Shane and BJ are probably
No,
going to
no,
be in.
I
There's
lied.
two
I'm
right
going to say
there.
5. I'm going to say 5.
Who would
I
be the
think
fifth?
Federer will get through. Shane is through. I think Oscar will get through. Um, uh, Obviously, BJ or Hunter, one of them's already going to be through.
Yeah.
I think Billy, Billy gets through. Even if he loses here, he plays tonight. So,
We'll probably go live a little later on this afternoon. Try to get some more players, or try to get a player out of a match. Maybe we get an American on here. Just talk the event a little thoroughly. Anyhow, Mike, I
yeah.
appreciate you for coming on, buddy. Anything else you got before we get out of here?
No, that'll cover me for now.
All
I
right,
got
you
to go
make
back
sure.
into this media room and have some more of that good food they have up here. This is the best media room ever.
Man, you're just trying to put me on tilt,
Fresh
ain't you?
coffee, water. They got, little nice little
You
spinach
know what? You
puffs
know what? I
and
got the last event. They gave me They gave me a water hose,
hummus.
right? There was the manguera. All they got was just the water hose. That's all I was able to get in the last event I went to. You know, that's it.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, keep your phone on in case anything pops off. Let me know, and we'll probably go live a little later on this afternoon. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the World Championship.